From California to Wisconsin, more than 100 million Americans under alerts for extreme heat warnings, watches, and advisories, and it all continues Sunday. Dave Packer, ABC News.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
We'll have some more clouds around as we head through tonight, a low of 62. A partly sunny day for tomorrow with a thunderstorm in spots in the afternoon, a high of 81. We can still see a thunderstorm tomorrow night. It will be partly cloudy, low 66. For AccuWeather, I'm Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following is an editorial by KDKA Radio Regional Vice President Michael Spacciapoli.
On Tuesday, a criminal convinced a woman to deposit thousands of dollars in an ATM at the county treasurer's office. An imposter claiming to be an Allegheny County Sheriff's deputy claimed this woman missed jury duty, said there were charges against her, and the way to clear things up was only to pay $2,000 and speak to a judge later to get her money back. Also this week, the wife of an Odyssey Pittsburgh coworker got a call about missing jury duty. The so-called officer told her to come to the courthouse, and when she refused, he threatened to have her arrested. That's where the call ended. While the outcomes of the calls were different, the con is the same, putting someone in a state of panic. If you have a relative who could become a target, tell them what to be prepared for. Scammers will create a sense of urgency with threats requiring immediate action, and they will demand payment by unusual means like gift cards, cryptocurrency, wire transfers, or payment apps like Venmo. Finally, don't forget the Sheriff's Office will never demand payment by phone or by an unusual method.
This has been an editorial by KDKA Radio Regional Vice President Michael Spacciapoli. To view a transcript, go to kdkaradio.com.
Rob Frax on the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
All right, another day and another shooting to report on. A man was shot and killed early on Thursday morning in Stowe. The man, whose name has not been released, was shot in Derby Alley behind the 800 block of Broadway Avenue. This according to the police report. First responders found the victim suffering from what appeared to be multiple gunshot wounds, according to the release. The victim was transported to an area hospital where he was pronounced dead. The investigation is pending. So, how long has it been since we have joined you on the weekend, or for that matter, even during my weeknight show, that we haven't talked about some sort of gun violence? I don't know how to stress this other than simply say the police are doing their job. But are we doing our job? Are we actually talking and communicating to local police at every level, saying, I noticed something that's very suspicious, or there is something about to happen in my neighborhood, and there is a word on the street that, look, I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. I think we need to find more opportunities for young people other than gunplay to have some sort of future that is safe and prosperous by finding them work. But that's another story for another day because, yes, I know. I sound like a broken record, but it's because I actually do care. And when you look at and do everything as far as connecting the dots, that's what it comes down to, everything that we're dealing with. But in this case, I'm just so frustrated that I have to open up a Sunday morning once again talking about it because it's the big story. Started to developing late yesterday, and now it's the story. We have to start building relationships with the local police. Now, we don't have the numbers to where they're walking the beat anymore, but they're there. You see them at a convenience store, many of them who you know, maybe from either living in your community or a surrounding community. When you're at some sort of event outside of what they do, these men and women on a regular basis, simply say hello, introduce yourself, get to know yourself, and simply say, look, I know the neighborhood has been going through a tough time, but if you would like me to kind of be an extra set of eyes, and if I see something, what would be the best way for me to get in touch with you? No, I'm not talking about snitching. I'm talking about preventing, stopping this type of violence because, once again, we're dealing with another death, multiple gunshot wounds, someone who was found, and now that person, after going to a local hospital, is dead. Family members will live on without this person. Whether you are thinking about it or not, they will the rest of their time on this earth. Open up a line of communication. Start speaking up and standing up. It will make a difference. All right, France preparing to use a massive specialty adapted cargo aircraft to dump flame retardants. They were doing this yesterday and into today on a wildfire that has forced the evacuation of tens of thousands of people, including from the suburbs to the wine region of Bordeaux, including some 70,000 people evacuated in central Spain. Wildfires in southern Europe this week have displaced more than 250,000 people. So we've been dealing with fires in California for years now. Parts of that great state have been destroyed. Neighborhoods, communities that have been around forever are no longer. The rebuild continues, and people are questioning why it could happen again. Yes, it will, and it has. For whatever reason, Mother Nature has had enough with what we have done to the ecosystem, to the landscape. But I also think we need to be thinking about preventative. But it's also now happening in a big way in other parts of the world, and this is another indication of it. Have we destroyed so much of the backdrop that protected us from all of this, including the wildfires and the smoke that has been coming from Canada over the last couple of years, and basically billowing smoke and dust and clouds to the point it's almost impossible to even comprehend that there is not some sort of barrier that stops all of that from making its way as far as from Canada to Pittsburgh. Something is happening. I don't know what it is or how to even make sense of it or to put my finger on it. But I know one thing, somebody is upset with us. And maybe because we have not been leading a righteous life by protecting certain things that were necessary to be protected. You know, even at the height of manufacturing and building and becoming the greatest country in the world, the most powerful free nation in the world, we had people over 100 years ago who were, well, with their deep pockets and grateful to have the opportunity to become an entrepreneur and to become rich beyond any of our beliefs. It may not seem like a lot, but they were paying it forward. They were giving back. They were creating and giving us a chance to generate life after. And we did have parks. Shenley Park's always been here. North Park, South Park. So they were giving us sanctuary and places to go. But I think what we have also done, instead of fixing places like these river communities and their main streets, we just keep moving out. We just keep moving out. We keep moving out. And we destroy more natural resources. And there's nothing wrong with a new subdivision of new housing because people need to live. And if they have paid the price and put in their sweat equity and can sign on the dotted line and make the payment, so be it. But we better start thinking about how we are handling Mother Earth, because right now Mother Earth is angry with us. Yeah, these stories, I mean, fires, tornadoes. I mean, we're supposed to be getting more of that smoke from Canada again. As I was going home last night, I was reading and listening about more tornadoes. You know, on the smartphone, I get home, I'm looking at it, and then I hear it on the radio and various newscasts in various countries and states dealing with all sorts of wacky weather. And it's crazy. And you heard in that ABC News report, you know, other parts of the country are in this sweltering heat again. And I come to work and I look, first thing I walk out, I'm like, oh, it feels like a fall day. Don't even really need the air conditioning here today in the studio. It's like in the low 60s. Now, I'm sure it's going to warm up. And we'll get more with AccuWeather again in just a little bit. But, I mean, it's really bizarre, this weather that we're having. And I truly believe we have taken away all of the resources. And as you heard in France, Bordeaux, as in wine country, this is the economic aspect of it. It's not only removing communities, cities, buildings, and residents, but it's also starting to affect crops. And when you start removing crops from the economy and the ecosystem, Mother Nature and the soil suffers, right? But also pocketbooks. And you start having people that take that skill set and try to go somewhere else. And what happens? You lose one, you lose another, and the next thing you know, there are complete communities. Even though you can rebuild, there's no one living there anymore. So there's just some really bizarre things happening with the weather. And I was thinking, you know, we are the only ones. It's like every other day we're talking about a massive fire out in the West, but it's happening now in France and Spain. So please keep those people in your thoughts and prayers. Hey, if you know someone in your community who's done something extraordinary in the past year, nominate them now, KDKRadio.com, to be honored at this year's Larry's Hometown Heroes event. 93.7 The Fan, 100.1 FM, and 1020 KDK and 107.3 WAMO preparing to support Pittsburgh Public School students for the school year by providing stuffed backpacks for the Pittsburgh Public Schools back-to-school event, presented by Target Freight Management. Now, you can support by purchasing backpacks or dropping off your location at a location near you. For details, go to KDKRadio.com, brought to you by Rugby Realty and Pittsburgh Regional Transit. All right, time to open the phones, 866-391-1020, 866-391-1020, and also NASCO Roofing is, well, just a click away. That's right. Email us at instantAccess@KDKRadio.com.
When you need to talk, we're here for you. Always have been. News Radio KDKA.
News Radio KDKA Sports.
Sports brought to you by Coons Quality Foods with 8 locations to serve you a Pittsburgh tradition. Paul Skeen struck out 11, but he gave up 5 earned runs. He falls to 9-9 on the year. Chicago blasted the Pirates 11-0. They wrap up the series today at PNC Park, 135-93-7 The Fan. 2026 WNBA All-Star Game. United Center in Chicago saw Team Spoon take on Team Coop. The final 129-122. Team Spoon gets the win. J.J. Williams delivered a 1-0 win for Rhode Island FC over the Riverhounds last night in front of a sold-out crowd at FNB Stadium. Kyle Shanahan broke his nose, 3 ribs, and his hand, and he needed over 40 stitches in his face after suffering a severe concussion in an automobile accident, and he will be limited during training camp. 3M opened through 3 rounds. Jackson Coyven, 20 under, 3-shot lead, and Al Pappy won the Adios at the Meadows yesterday, and NASCAR goes for the checkered flag today at the Brickyard. More sports, 93.7thefan.com.
Support St. Anthony school programs and help students with special needs achieve their full potential through inclusive education, therapy services, and job skills development. Serving students ages 5 to 21 with Down syndrome, autism, and other intellectual disabilities. Find them within select Catholic schools in the Pittsburgh area, including a post-secondary program at Duquesne University. For over 70 years, St. Anthony school programs have empowered students of all faiths to live independently and contribute meaningfully to society. Learn more or donate at StAnthonyKids.org.
The KDKA Radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at KennyRoss.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
The 50,000-watt voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Well, as always, you can listen to us at 100.1 FM, AM 1020 KDKA on the Odyssey app, AUDACY, but you can also watch us online with our KDK video stream presented by Metropolitan Window Company. Just go to KDKRadio.com and click on KDK. Watch for that live stream, or you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel to see everything that is happening in our studio. Father Burke, a little over an hour away with Catholic Education Plus. You'll have some folks on from Oakland Catholic and also folks from the Little Sisters of the Poor, and they're going to be talking about a school mission trip visiting residents, turning that into a book. So that's all coming up in just a little bit with my man, Father Tom Burke, who will be here shortly. Catholic Education Plus every other Sunday from 6:30 to 7. All right, now let's talk a little bit. 866-391-1020. You know, we had some really serious discussions yesterday about what's going on with the pension system in Allegheny County. You know, I just want to go back to that for a moment. We are long removed from being self-sufficient, meaning where we knew from the time we signed on that, more importantly, when we signed off, that basically those checks would just be showing up. We should be far removed from thinking that that's the norm, right? But we should also understand, again, people that have those type of pensions that basically are fixed, etched in stone, we should be simply embracing them. Because do you understand, because of so many people that have mismanaged the opportunities when it comes to saving money, if it wasn't for certain people like in county government and teaching jobs where they are guaranteed a pension, whether you want to hear this or not, there would be no cash flow. There wouldn't. And those jobs that these people have are actually the jobs that keep the economy upright. And if you think thinning those jobs is going to make a difference, So this is what I want you to understand for a moment. And I'm just trying to make you all realize why this story is so important and why we're going to continue to follow it, because it could also be a barometer that could actually show other places that are in similar situations, because they're not the only one. And don't be shocked if you start hearing stories like this from other surrounding areas here in this part of the country. This is a big statement by the district attorney. This is a big story that could actually really help everybody involved. And I believe that Sarah Innamorato and the Allegheny County Chief Exec, along with council, will try to do everything to right the ship. I don't know if it's possible, especially with the numbers that we're looking at. Will they have to freeze it? Will people have to take a haircut? I do not know. But what I do know is this. For all of you that pound your fist all the time and simply say, government is just too top-heavy, they need to slice and dice and remove it. So where do these people go? You tell me. They go work at a fast food restaurant, make minimum wage, and we all know that they cannot survive on that. Okay? And many of them have a lot of skill sets, whether it's in bookkeeping or some sort of accounting or scheduling issues or taking that phone call to talk to you about whatever you're dealing with. There's a lot more to these jobs than meets the eye. These are highly skilled people who have been doing it for 10, 15, 20 years or more. Many who've had these jobs just like their parents before them, and just like their parents have bought a home in Allegheny County. They pay school tax in Allegheny County. They pay property tax. They buy their groceries. They do their banking. They buy clothes at the local mall. So there's a lot more to this than meets the eye. And I'm going to make a point here, and I hope you embrace this. And if you want to jump in and you disagree, that's fine. It's okay. But, you know, I'm guarantee you there's people who are working for the county listening to me right now that are probably not ashamed. I don't want to say that, but they're embarrassed thinking, oh, my, people are going to be thinking, you know, we need to lose our jobs because we did this. You had nothing to do with this. You are doing your job. You're keeping your head down and your nose to the grindstone. This has nothing to do with anybody who works in any government job throughout my listening audience this morning. This is because we were adding these jobs, but we were never, ever, ever doing anything to create other jobs in this region, meaning the jobs that we all grew up with when nobody complained about people working in county government, in the steel industry, in the coal industry. And if we would start igniting those jobs again, and also other energy-oriented jobs, this thing would balance itself out. It would find a way to work itself out because you'd have more people moving in, paying more taxes. Do you understand? I think 40,000 is what we lost in the last census. If we can even add half of that, 20,000 good-paying jobs, 100,000 plus a year, they buy a home, they start paying taxes, it adds up. And then, you know, you get calls from a gentleman, as we did yesterday, who really got it going by saying he's getting bills in the mail for taxes that he didn't even know existed. And bills that are telling him he has X amount of, meaning couple of days to pay, or he'll be in arrears. I mean, this is so upside down, it's pathetic. But it wasn't because of the county workers. It wasn't because of this regime. This has been going on forever. We have been going through this forever. A lot of these problems should have been corrected 20, 30 years ago. We should have added jobs 20 or 30 years ago, but we haven't. We just kept thinking, it'll get better, sweep it under the rug. And even though that rug became very lumpy, the bottom line is we just accepted it. But do you understand, if you start removing these jobs, just think for 1 second, and I know a lot of you think they should be cut in half, but if we start removing these jobs of these good, healthy paychecks, what do you think is going to happen to the property tax? It's going to go up. Somebody's got to pay it. Or are they going to get a job after being... This happened in the steel industry. When many of these people were 20, 25, 30 years in, everybody went, well, go to a community college, get re-educated, retooled. Well, if you don't have a manufacturing base, a lot of the companies that basically had people doing work that were the feeder stocks or the companies that were needed because of the people working in the mills, they disappeared. They left. They went where the workforce was. So people started getting minimum wage jobs, or 2 or 3, went on the unemployment rolls, and some just simply gave up. You take those jobs away, where do you think these people are going to go? Do you realize in recent months, we're not adding 250,000 jobs a month. We're adding like 80,000, 50,000. And everybody's like, boy, the numbers are low. But even when they were at 225,000, 250,000, and as much as 300,000, they weren't all jobs making $100,000 a year. So you can't keep subtracting jobs that are actually paying it forward. You may not like what somebody in county government is making. You may not like that they have a set pension. You may not like that once they get to that 30 years and the gold watch, they get a pension, they get health insurance. You may not like that, but if it was you, you would like it. They chose to do that, okay? Those teachers who are making a livable wage now, they chose to do that like many of them, their parents before them who were making no money in the 60s. But they stayed the course when people were working in the steel mill making 5 times what they were making in the 60s and 70s because of their passion for teaching. So don't kill the messenger is what I'm saying. So I would rather find a way to work with government, work with community leaders, find a way to promote good-paying jobs, get people an opportunity to go to work, increase your tax base by good old-fashioned sweat equity, and then the balance would be there. Now, for those of us in our 6th or 7th decade, it's not going to happen in our lifetime. There are probably going to be people, sadly, in all walks of life that are going to have to take a haircut when it comes to their pension. And there are going to be more and more people taking their Social Security before they turn 70 because they realize they're going to have to live to be 90 to collect everything that they put into, and they start realizing that they've been putting into it since the 70s. And many of them are going to need that Social Security now while they continue to work to be their supplemental income. And yes, sadly, many are going to have to work once they retire from their full-time job. And sadly, many people are going to give up on life because they just can't work anymore. And listen, we talk about this all the time. I have people come up to me all the time. Hey, how's it going in retirement? I hope I don't outlive my money. And I'm like, are you telling me you'd rather pass on than try to find a way to make more money? I can't do it again. I'm like, what do you mean you can't do it again? I've worked 40 years. I don't want to do it anymore. I may have 10 good years left, 10 summers, 10 winters, 10 falls, 10 springs. I just want to make the most out of the time that I have, and I want to get up and hear the birds chirp, and I want to be able to take my time and have a second cup of coffee. I don't want to live the grind anymore. Anybody who's worked that many years shouldn't have to feel that way, but that's where we are in our society. And if you're in your 30s and 40s, you don't know anything about it. You can't even experience it or feel it. But I'm also hoping that we start teaching our children and grandchildren over the next 20, 30 years when they will be taking that journey in life, that they start making good decisions. And you don't need 2 cars for every garage. You don't need a $500,000 to $1 million home. You don't need to be paying a $3,500 a month note for your mortgage. And yeah, you can, as we talked about yesterday, and I got a lot of good feedback on this once I got off the air and I was making my way back home doing some rounds. You don't need to furnish every room in the house. Sometimes slower is better. It's nice. You appreciate things more. We've all been living in this instant gratification society for the longest time that is finally starting to come home to hurt us. And we're starting to look at people who may not be in a situation like we are, and we're kind of lashing out. We're being jealous. So I think in the long run, what Stephen Zappala did is going to help a lot of people. I just want to see where we go from here. But I also want you to know, don't blame the people that are going to collect the pensions or collecting the pensions because they're spending money and they live in this community. And we need people to spend money so we can stay afloat. We can't lose any more businesses. We can't lose any more jobs. We got to learn to add businesses and create jobs. All right, 866-391-1020, 866-391-1020. We're going to get to your calls on the other side of the news, which is coming up in just a couple of minutes with ABC Radio News. And Rob Taylor will be here today, top and bottom of the hour. More Coons Quality Food Sports Reports coming up at 45 and 15 past the hour, right up until 7:45. And, of course, great Pittsburgh work programming, too.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
I'm John Morgan at Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Over 35 years, I've seen it all. Car crashes, work injuries, defective products, medical mistakes, lives flipped upside down in an instant. But I've also seen something else, the power of fighting back, the power of winning. Over $30 billion recovered and counting. Size matters, reputation matters, results matter. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
Morgan & Morgan, 603 Stanwyck Street, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania lawyer will handle Pennsylvania cases. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Celebrate the month of July with zero res and get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129 and get your air ducts cleaned for $5.99 per unit. Book online at zerorespgh.com and take advantage of the savings today.
Colin Dunlap takes the show on the road in support of the Wiener 100 race at EQT Park. As part of the Bark in the Park night on August 4th before the Wild Things game. 7 races, 7 dogs, and KDKA Radio. Find out if your wiener dog is eligible to race by clicking on the events page at KDKARadio.com. Hot dogs, baseball, the Wiener 100 race, and Colin Dunlap. Only on the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Hundreds of thousands of people forced to evacuate as raging wildfires rip through Spain and France. The Tour de France shortening its final stage so security staff can help fight the fires. ABC foreign correspondent Marcus Moore.
Strong winds combined with high temperatures and drought conditions pushing the flames quickly across parts of southwestern France and central Spain. A wildfire in Valencia fanned by shifting winds, killing an elderly man. That fire now under control.
Also in Europe, at least one person is dead, more than a dozen others injured after a car drove into a crowd at a pride parade in Berlin. President Trump met with top advisors behind closed doors at the White House Friday to discuss his options on Iran, including the possibility of significantly expanding military action against the country, say sources. With Graham Plattner out, Maine Democrats chose former state Senate President Troy Jackson Saturday as their nominee to take on longtime Republican Senator Susan Collins. This is ABC News.
The U.S. Treasury quietly released its official financial report for 2025. It appears by its own numbers, the U.S. government seems insolvent. It's reported that the Treasury shows about $6 trillion in assets and over $47 trillion in liabilities. Add it all up, and it looks like the U.S. owes more than $130 trillion it doesn't have. If that were a family, they'd earn $52,000 a year, spend $73,000, and already be more than $1 million underwater. Any accountant would call that insolvent. So how does the government fix this? It can print money, which erodes your purchasing power, it can raise taxes, or it can cut benefits. And none of those can help to protect you. That's why many people who have something to lose move part of their savings into physical gold and silver, assets that can't be printed, defaulted on, or voted away. Call Monetary Gold at 877-NOW-GOLD for their complimentary gold and silver guide and a no-pressure conversation. That's 877-NOW-GOLD. Call Monetary Gold now at 877-NOW-GOLD. Do it before the next headline, not after. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
Suffering from peripheral neuropathy? Learn how over 15,000 sufferers regained their comfort, mobility, and quality of life with Tri-State Neuropathy Center's successful treatment plan that is FDA cleared, non-invasive, and drug-free. Here's Sean Ritchie, DC, and Tri-State's founder about one of their many satisfied patients.
One thing I like about having the most effective treatment protocol on the market for peripheral neuropathy is the stories that we hear. Like Karen from Export. She suffered with neuropathy for 3 years, and it got so bad that she couldn't even wear her normal shoes. In fact, she got rid of them and can only wear Skechers. After going through the program, now she's able to wear any shoes she wants, and she's very disappointed that she got rid of all her other shoes.
Tri-State Neuropathy Centers helped Karen. Let them help you next. Call 724-940-9000 for an initial free consultation. That's 724-940-9000. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers, the leader in treating peripheral neuropathy. Learn more at marydanston.com.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
It will be clouding up a bit tonight with a low of 62. We'll have a mix of sun and clouds tomorrow with a thunderstorm in spots in the afternoon, a high of 81. Some sun giving way to clouds Monday with a heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon, high 85. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, it's the weekend, but don't fret. I'll be back Monday, and we'll get the week started off right. Colin Dunlap, 2 to 6 on Monday. Catch you then right here, KDKA.
All right, 866-391-1020. I want to hear from you. We got about a half hour left in our open talk portion of the broadcast today, so let's get to work. Head out to Oakland and say good morning to Anthony. Anthony, you're on KDKA. How are you?
Rob, I've been listening to you for a while on this subject. And in no disrespect, it's showing your naivete. The county, the state, and the city, their pension plans are going to implode. This problem should have been solved years and years and years ago. Matter of fact, it should have been solved when we changed from the county commissioners to and peered down the row offices and made an county executive with a council. That's when it really should have been changed. They should have switched to a 401k then, because the chickens are coming home to roost. And you keep talking about Sarah Sarah, she's out of her league also. She's just like Gainey, we're legislators. They don't know what they're doing. She's too focused on paid family leave, ICE, and a bunch of nonsense. Changing paying prisoners. I mean, they think that tax dollars are monopoly money to them. And now Sarah Innamorato has 9 public relation people, 9, and she never speaks to anybody. So why do you have 9 public relations people? I mean, the problem with the Rust Belt is why the South and Texas and all those are expanding. They've gotten rid of their income tax. They got rid of the regulations. They don't hinder business. Their business isn't in government sector. It's the private sector. Here, the city, the county, the state, we grow government jobs. We're not growing the private sector jobs. And here in Western Pennsylvania, we don't have immigrants. So it's always been black and white. There's very few immigrants, legal or illegal. So we got serious problems. They should have switched to a 401k when Roddy was the county executive. They should have transitioned then. Now you got all this legacy costs. And like I said, it's going to happen to the city too. City's going to get hit, and the state. Because they added people, the state added people to their pension plans, teachers and all this other. Then it's going to implode. The Rust Belt is in trouble, period. That's why people are fleeing. They're going to Texas. They're going to North Carolina. They're going to Tennessee. They're going to Florida. And it ain't just because of the weather. It's because of the structure of how people live. So, I'm not impressed with any of them. I'm impressed with, you have to be impressed with the district attorney. Why? Because he's ready to retire, and he sees there ain't going to be no pension for him. So he wants to know, how come you haven't been adding, contributing, or trying to fix it? And that goes back, like I said, goes all the way back, man, when they changed over. So they're all capable, including Corey. He was he was county controller. He knew this was coming. So they're all corrupt, man.
So Anthony, let me ask you, can you flip a switch and do that now? Or is it more like you got to freeze it first, or people just have to take a big haircut? I mean, how do you get it back? I mean, if you got to do $100 million a year and you can't even get roads and bridges fixed, and you got people leaving Allegheny County, it's just not feasible. So how quickly do you go to a 401k?
Well, they're already doing it for new hires now that aren't union. You're going to have to do it to everybody. It's not just the at-will employees. You're going to have to do it for the union employees, too. You Because there's not going to be any money.
So what do you do with... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
There's not going to be any money. They're all afraid of what needs to come, but they have to do it. Look, I don't know how you can't tax your way out of this. You have to try to grow your way out of it, but you can't grow with the nonsense that they're trying to do. They want to float some bonds to give money for downtown Pittsburgh. Man, that's absurd. They cut regulation, cut taxes, draw others here. You got the private sector base. If it wasn't for UPMC, you could roll a bowling ball through Allegheny County. It's just that UPMC and the hospitals who are saving us, they're not going to be here long if this nonsense keeps, because this government structure is going to fall apart around them.
Should the two merge, Anthony, or would that just make it worse?
No. The entities are fine. Those entities, they're not struggling.
No. Allegheny County and Pittsburgh.
Oh, I don't know. Why? Did you got a double mess?
Okay, that's what I said. Is it going to be worse?
We're hiring incompetent people. Legislators, the people who are afraid to tell the truth. That's what. The only thing I regret that I'm 70 instead of 40. Because baby, they'd hire me because I would tell people the truth. I wouldn't be lying to them. And that's what's been going on here for 60 years, lying. And guess what? Malcolm X said it best. The chickens have come home to roost. Take care, bro.
All right, my man. 866-391-1020. Here's Kathy in Imperial. Good morning, Kath.
Good morning, Rob. Well, I have a interesting thing to talk about, I think.
Okay.
So this is about Trump. When he was jokingly saying about running again for the presidency. I've talked about this before, that I believe that if he could, he would. Now, this isn't my hope. This is just what I believe could happen. So I've been looking into it a little bit, and it's not impossible. There's the 22nd Amendment, which was brought into our nation in 1947, about how many consecutive terms you could run, which was 2, and we all know that. And then the 12th Amendment is there as a buffer that talks about you cannot be elected to the presidency more than twice. So that's the loophole, the word elected. It doesn't rule out the president, the sitting president, running as vice president. So, for example, if J.D. were to run as president and Trump were his running mate as vice president, that's the loophole legally is that if J.D. were to not be able to continue his term and it made Trump be able to be the president again, the word is he would hold the office of presidency, not be elected to. So a bright lawyer could use that as a basis to justify Trump running as vice president. And also at that point, there would be a lot of contention and, outrage, I'm sure, or whatever, pushback, that's the word. But at that point, it states that constitutionally it would be turned over to the Supreme Court, who would then have to rule if it was allowable for Trump to run as vice president. So these are things I've been looking into because you just never know with him. He could have been joking and he could have been serious. So I just decided to look into it, and that's what I came up with.
Well, I honestly, I don't think his health is real good right now. I mean, I really believe that, and I don't think his wife would want him to run again. He may joke about it, and there may be a loophole. There's a loophole for everything. But honestly, I'm concerned about his health right now. He doesn't seem to be as elusive as he was, and there have been some really serious reports. And look, I want the guy to be able to retire from politics and go back to his life. I want him to live into his 90s. I want him to have some time to be with his children and grandchildren. What we all want. Look, our country is so far upside down, just like this pension thing we're talking about locally. That's all we've been talking about all weekend. We're $38 trillion in debt, Kathy. and it continues to grow.
know.
I wish in my lifetime, and you're young enough, you may see some of this stuff happen. I'm not that I'm giving up, because I will never give up, but I just don't know what we do. I would rather him go back to his family, enjoy his time for what he's worked for, as opposed to dying in office because he thinks no one's going to make a difference. In the next 10, 15 years, the only one that's going to make a difference are the American people. We have to take charge. We have to basically take our communities back and be forceful in getting stuff done, because there's not a single politician right now or somebody who's in the loop that's going to be able to turn this country around or this region. I mean, that's a frightening story about $1.4 billion in arrears, and you're going to have to do $100 million a year just so people can keep their pension. And I mean, all the things the president's done, the tariffs, the negotiating, the oil situation, what he's doing in Iran, all of this stuff, it's not made a dent. It's not made a dent. Oil prices are sky high. People are still paying way too much for everything. And I'm not blaming him, because he's tried, but the government and the American people won't even let him do what he wants to do. So do I want to see the guy continue to fight a losing battle and die in office? He's got a 20-year-old son. I want him to be able to spend time with his son, and I want him to be able to spend time with his wife. I mean, whether you like the guy or not, everybody deserves that. So that's just my thought process.
Yeah, well, one of the things you just said is golden, because I think that in the last, I want to say, since 2016, one of the things, and the pot got stirred very much, it woke a lot of people up. The one thing you just said, which is golden, is that all of this unity and contention and all this has made a lot of Americans wake up and realize we have to be the ones to do something. We have to know who's running for office. We have to intentionally vote. We have to get involved ourselves. For the longest time, me included, it was just this machine that was running. You'd go and vote, and you didn't really look into a whole lot about who, if they were a Republican or a Democrat, you voted. And a lot of us were asleep at the wheel, and I think that's how a lot of the corruption was able to dig its heels in and get some deep roots in our government structure. And that is it. We all need to pay attention. And, and when it comes to these high prices we're paying, don't forget that this is a state-by-state thing. Each governor is responsible for what's happening in their state. It's not that the federal government drives everything. I mean, it is the top. But each state, we have to hold our governors accountable for how they're running the state that we live in.
Right.
And that's where it starts.
Right.
If we all get involved with that and see what's going on state by state, and we give our opinion, or we push back, or we say, no, this isn't, you need to make some changes here. That would happen. If that happens in all 50 states by the American people, that could really start to bring some life on the vine of this, in this nation. And, we don't, a lot of people don't.
Well, listen, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I got to get to a break. You're absolutely right. That's why beginning tomorrow night, I'm going to start really talking about issues in this governor's race, because that's really where it starts. And people better pay attention. And again, I don't think who gets elected as president in 2028 and beyond is going to make a difference. We're just so far in the hole right now, and I just don't see anything helping us climb out of it unless we do. Kathy, always good hearing from you. Have a great week. 866-391-1020. Final, last call coming up. Anybody else wants to jump in here, feel free. We'll get to the news at 6, Tech Vibe Radio, Catholic Education Plus. Doug is here. Frank is here. Dr. Bridget Chufo is here. Accurate Solutions, Coons Market, Black and Gold Sunday Show. We are just underway until 1 o'clock today for a Sunday on KDKA with your Pratt Pack.
It's the little things. The information you need. People you know. The little things that make a big difference. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA. News Radio. KDKA. Sports.
Sports brought to you by Coons Quality Foods with 8 locations to serve you a Pittsburgh tradition. Paul Skeen struck out 11, but he gave up 5 earned runs. He falls to 9-9 on the year. Chicago blasted the Pirates 11-0. They wrap up the series today at PNC Park 135-93-7 the Fan. 2026 WNBA All-Star Game. United Center in Chicago saw Team Spoon take on Team Coop. The final 129-122. Team Spoon gets the win. J.J. Williams delivered a 1-0 win for Rhode Island FC over the Riverhounds last night in front of a sold-out sellout crowd at FNB Stadium. Kyle Shanahan broke his nose, 3 ribs, and his hand, and he needed over 40 stitches in his face after suffering a severe concussion in an automobile accident, and he will be limited during training camp. 3M opened through 3 rounds. Jackson Coyven, 20 under, 3-shot lead, and Al Pappy won the Adios at the Meadows yesterday, and NASCAR goes for the checkered flag today at the Brickyard. More sports, 93.7thefan.com.
It's back and right where it belongs, downtown Pittsburgh in the heart of the city. Rock, Reggae, and Relief returns Saturday, August 8th for a full day of live music on Forbes Avenue and Market Square. Featuring UB40, Allie Campbell, The Elevators, Tribal Seeds, G-Love, The Hip Abduction, and more. 2 stages, reggae tunes, art, vendors, and summer vibes. This benefit festival supports Cafe Momentum, empowering justice-involved youth. Get tickets at rockreggaerelief.com. Rock, Reggae, and Relief, back downtown and bigger than ever.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Experience Pittsburgh Magazine's long-awaited Ultimate House, open for tours. Explore a stunning luxury showcase home featuring the latest in design, architecture, and innovation, all while supporting the free care fund at UPMC Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh. Odyssey and McGee Women's Research Institute have teamed up for a new women's health podcast. Understudied asks researchers the biggest questions in women's health, and they're finding answers that could change lives around the world. Tune in where you find your podcasts. Sponsored by Genentech. Obsessed with pizza? So are they at Slice on Broadway. The 2025 winner of World's Best Cheese Pizza Slice is right here in the Burgh with 6 Pittsburgh locations, always serving delicious New York-style pizza, hoagies, and salads. Order yours today.
Details at kdkaradio.com. Pittsburgh's 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, look, I'm going to take this thing to the top of the hour. No more phone calls because I got to get a couple of things off my chest, and I also want to kind of get you ready for what we're going to be doing this week. And we're going to be all in on this local stuff that's happening. You know, this gun violence, the Stowe Township story that we began with. I mean, we've got to start opening up a better line of communications with our local police departments. Now more than ever, we've got to really start speaking our mind about what's happening in this region. And, you know, it's kind of like what we were talking just moments ago about. I don't think any politician can fix this country. I really don't. I've kind of given up hope on that. I mean, I'm going to continue to promote and talk, but it's going to be more about what's happening locally, like with this gubernatorial race, what happens with the midterms locally, because that's the only way it's going to get done. We have to look at the people that we think here locally can help us. With all due respect, people in Washington, in that administration, or even that man that's leading this country, can't help us. Can't. It's just, there's just too many problems in our country, and they're involved in too much in way of issues outside of this country. I mean, from Venezuela to Cuba to Iran, dealing with Ukraine. I mean, it's just, there's no way. There's no way. You know, we have to stay true to the things that can actually help us here in our region, and that's job creation. People that work in local government, I mean small government, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 people as far as the community is concerned. Whether it's a new grocery store, a new bank coming in, a new clothier, something happening in an old mall property, an old, brownfield where a mill once stood for 30, 40, 50 years. That's what we have to pay attention to. That's what we have to try to make a difference in. Because if we don't, what's going to happen? It's going to be real simple. They're going to be shoveling dirt on us. We're going to be gone. They're just going to be forgetting about us and moving on to a higher place, a better place, something that's got a few more things going for them. Look, when you look at what's happening in this region and why places like Washington County are thriving and Butler County are thriving, people got tired of dealing with the same old rhetoric and have just decided, as in years ago, to move out. And where farm country once was, now you have thriving communities. You have homes being built for more than $500,000. You have shops and eateries and retailers. And look, when I go into some of these places and I see a mall parking lot or I see a giant strip mall parking lot and I see cars bumper to bumper and traffic and major thoroughfares and like Adams Township, what's going on out there? It excites me. It's nice to see. But unless we find a way to bring some of that back to the once thriving river communities in the Ohio Valley, the Mon Valley, the Beaver Valley, sooner or later, the same thing that happened in that river valley, that community that you grew up in, it's going to happen elsewhere. You cannot continue to sustain unless you have a manufacturing working class society. It's why healthcare is an issue. It's why school, public education is an issue. It's why brick and mortar is an issue. It's why violence and shootings and drug issues are an issue. And you just can't keep locking everybody up because we have no room in the prison systems anymore. And we have these youth issues that are happening in Pittsburgh that are out of control because these youth have nowhere to go. So what they do, they gather, they get angry, as all young people do when they gather in large numbers. Look, even back in the 70s, a rival football team, a rival basketball team, there was always, if you let it happen, extracurricular activity in the parking lot. Because young people have a lot of momentum, a lot of energy. And yes, sometimes if things don't go their way, they get very personable and they get angry. We got to keep them occupied. We got to keep them busy. And how do we do that? It's simple. We create things for them to do. You realize, here's another thing. The local YMCA, we still have them, but back in the day, every Saturday, every kid, mom and dad, get in the car, I'm dropping you off. That's where you're going for the day, okay? Or you had friends, you were out in the neighborhood doing things, hanging out, having fun. Doesn't exist anymore because we have become so technologically crippled that our children think sitting in the air conditioning on a summer day playing video games from the time they wake up at 11 until the time they go to bed at 11 at night, if not later, that's a life. That's vacation to them. That's not vacation. That's brain numbing. That's causing them to be stuck in neutral, and these are traits that they will take with them the rest of their life. Instead of going out and picking up a summertime job, learning about cash and putting money in the bank and getting used to having responsibilities in a place you have to go, when it is time for them to go, they're crippled. They don't know how to punch a time clock. They don't know how to work 8 hours. I mean, actually work 8 hours as opposed to sitting in front of a giant flat screen TV playing video games. Look, there's nothing wrong with any of that in small doses, but don't you see, it's the littlest things that we have done that have turned out to be the biggest problems in America. And the one word that I keep thinking about over and over is responsibility. And it's why pension funds have become an issue now. It's why brick and mortar has become an issue now. It's why finances have become an issue now. It's why we need new fire trucks has become an issue now, because we haven't had cash flow coming in, and every couple of years we're able to flip whatever we need to flip. But now we try to put super glue and duct tape on it. Doesn't work. Sooner or later, no matter what you've done to put it together, even with a wad of chewing gum, it doesn't work. It falls apart. Everything that is old is new again. You have to get rid of what the old is and replace it with new. The same thing with communities. When families age out or pass away, the kids end up leaving, that house has to be prepared for the next generation. Look, as much as you love your home and your community, I was thinking about this coming into work today because I was thinking about pensions and what people are thinking. And yes, they are afraid in Allegheny County, and they have every right to be. They've worked hard. And it's easy to say make drastic cuts and to get rid of or do this or freeze or go to a 401k. Yeah, it's easy if it's not you. Okay? We're too smart. We have too many bright ideas. It's possible to actually look to the future to give future people that opportunity. And I'm going to end on this note. If you're listening to me in a home that you've been in for 30, 35, 40 years, or maybe 20 years, or hey, you're the newlywed couple, you just moved in down the street. I know this may be hard to believe, but I was thinking about this coming in today. Everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And yes, no matter how much stuff you have, one day when you are gone, a dumpster will be in your driveway, and they will strategically, whether it's your family members or the new couple that is starting over fresh and fell in love with your house when they were out driving one night, whatever you leave, it'll be gone. And they'll paint, put new carpeting down, and bring in their own furniture, and they will become the next chapter. And yeah, relatives and maybe even you will drive by years later. But guess what? That house will have taken on a complete new meaning and a complete new personality, and you will be an afterthought. So let me just tell you this. No, we will all be an afterthought, but while we are here, let's take some time and give it some thought on what we need to do. And what we need to do is to get working again, get job creation again, get building things again, and get out promoting this region for business purposes. And look at the local election or that governor's race that's coming up. Who's going to give the Commonwealth a better chance to generate and create and keep people here? Let's think plus column as opposed to the subtraction column. It's never too late, but the clock is ticking. And this pension story is another indication on why we need to fix it. Rob's coming up next with the news. Good morning.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
University of Pittsburgh head football coach Pat Narduzzi. Have to ask you about Mr. Beast. This guy is worth $2.6 billion on paper. He decides to visit. What was that all about?
I'm still waiting for that check from him.
Okay.
I haven't got the check yet.
Mr. Beast, send the check to University of Pittsburgh football team.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the Voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 65 degrees now. Pittsburgh International at 6 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. 2 men are dead after a shooting in Clairton. Shooting happened around 6:30 Saturday evening on Miller Avenue near the Village Inn bar. Both men were shot multiple times. They died at a local hospital. Right now, no word on descriptions of any suspects. Police believe the suspects fled the scene in a vehicle. Anyone with information on that shooting is asked to call County Police tip line at 833 all tips. Allegheny County Police say whoever shot and killed a man in Stowe Township is still at large. That shooting happened around 3 o'clock Saturday morning. Male victim found shot multiple times just off Broadway Avenue on Derby Alley. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. The man who died is yet to be publicly identified. Well, according to Gas Buddy, the national average for a gallon of regular gas is once again over $4. ABC's Dave Packer reports prices are expected to keep rising.
Across the U.S., gas prices rising amid threats of an escalating war with Iran. After nearly 2 weeks of deadly strikes, the U.S. and Iran have paused their daily attacks. This as the Houthis, an Iranian proxy group in Yemen, have opened a new front targeting Saudi oil exports, claiming they hit state-run oil operations in the Saudi kingdom.
Saturday was the final day that the Southside ice cream and coffee shop named Churn was open. Its doors now closed for good after 5 years in business at 2000 East Carson Street. Another Churn location in Fox Chapel at Hartwood Town Center remains open. Owners say there are plans to open a new Churn location in McCandless this fall. Reasons for the Southside